your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, now streaming on all major podcast platforms. A Till Valhalla Project ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're going to have a little chat. But before we get into that, are you enjoying the episodes? And go to the Lost Art Podcast. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go check it out, see what we're all about. Also, you can click on that merchandise tab, go in there, get you some cool gear, get you something, a hat, a shirt, anything like that, but help support us and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, a big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, allowing me to be an ambassador for that amazing organization. If you don't know anything about them, go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Go check them out. They are doing amazing things, and if you can help them out in any way, please do so.
Ton Tavern, birthplace of the Corps. We as Marines hold this history close to our hearts. Wouldn't it be spectacular if the establishment was born again? The Ton Legacy Foundation, a nonprofit 501c3, is taking the task and is looking to the Marines to once again save the day. Help the Lost Art podcast in raising funds to help get the Ton built once again, only 100 yards from the original establishment in Philadelphia. We are looking for Marines to donate $25, representing the upcoming 250th birthday of the Corps. Spread the message and help establish the Ton, a place for Marine brethren to gather and remember our historic beginning. Go to the Lost Art GoFundMe page and donate today. The Ton Legacy Foundation, reestablishing our birthplace.
All right, with that, I wanted to take a little bit of time and come in here, record a little thing for you. And this episode is just me, and I'm going to talk to you, the listeners out there, and say thanks. So first and foremost, a lot has happened in the last year. I was still on active duty this time last year, and all the way up till February, into February, I officially retired. And then we got an RV, we started traveling the country, and I'm still recording the podcast, doing all that, and doing a lot of podcasts and having a blast doing it. And we've traveled all over the place. We've gone from Virginia down to North Carolina, all the way across to Oklahoma, south to Texas, over to New Mexico, up to Wyoming, shot across Ohio, all the states up there, and came back down to North Carolina, back up to Virginia, had some stuff to take care of there. And then now we've made our way back to Oklahoma, which is where we are currently. So a lot of miles traveled, and what a great time and great experience it's been. I wouldn't trade that for the world. But I want to say thank you to you, the listeners, and especially to those that have come on the podcast and really helped me in ensuring that what I'm doing here is worthwhile. And having people come on, share their stories, share their experiences, talk about their businesses, just come on here and chat with me has been incredible. And I hope that everybody that's come on the podcast and been a part of it, it has experienced that. But I'll tell you this, a big shout out to my podcast crew. You guys know who you are. You got Mark, you got Mike, you got Aaron, you got Vic. Let's see who else. Krista, and then some others that have come on. They've just been fantastic, and they've been the core crew that I've had this entire time. And man, I couldn't ask for a better crew to come on here and support me and come on here. Now they're coming on 2 and 3 times a week, which is incredible, with the way we're doing the fireside chats. But to you guys, thank you. I love you guys. You guys rock. I appreciate what you're doing. And to all the veterans that have come on here just to share your story or either talk about a veteran-owned business or organization, you guys, fantastic. I always tell people every single veteran story is important. And that's what I'm trying to capture. I'm trying to capture the veteran stories and have them tell it in their own words for their family, for their friends, for historical purposes even. But I want to encourage everybody out there that hasn't done a podcast and hasn't told their story. Come on a podcast and tell your story. Talk to those that have been on the podcast before. Ask them how it went for them. Ask them if it was worthwhile. Yeah, I think you'll find that it probably is. And it is definitely something that I think all veterans should be able to sit down and do and talk through their experiences, and at least for their family's sake, so they could hear what all you went through and things like that. So I wanted to also go over a little bit of stats. So we started, my first episode that aired was 9 December. So I started a couple weeks before that, like prepping and getting ready and stuff like that. The very first episode, it's incredible that we've come as far as we have. We started out with just doing voice, so it's just like a voice recording, and I was not very good at it. I'll be honest. The first several episodes sound bad, and that's all me. But still yet the guests that came on, fantastic. Dave Kyle was the very, very first guest, and he's come on the podcast several different times over the year. But man, what a treat. And as we push through, and then I started talking to different people, and they're like, hey, look, you really need to take this to video. So a big shout out to Brad out there and Eddie. Thank you guys for pushing me to do the video, and we jumped on that and started doing it. And I think it's pretty successful so far. And then we've been doing episodes for a while. We were doing 6 episodes a week. I was taking the veteran stories and splitting them up into 2, but I found that doesn't work as well. So what I started doing is each veteran story, it's 1 episode in its entirety, and those air on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then I'm doing 3 fireside chats a week. But with that, let me just talk down a couple of stats and a couple of things that I feel are important. So, not right now currently, but for the episode that's going to air on December 9th, we're recording on December 8th, but that'll be the 306th episode that I've recorded, which is pretty incredible. At least for me, I don't know. It's a lot of episodes. We've had 100 veteran stories where 100 veterans have come on there and told their story in their own words, which is fantastic. And man, I'm so thankful that I was able to get that many on here. I want to try and get more next time. But let's say we've done 206 fireside chats. That's pretty incredible stats there. And big shout out to my crew. Shout out to anybody that's come on those and just had fun. I know Tracer Burnout, and you're out there. You guys also have come on several times. It's another podcast out there that's doing the same thing, having veterans tell their stories, doing incredible things as well. But I'm thankful that you guys come on and still entertain me and make fun of me and all that other good stuff. But yeah, we're moving right along. And now this is on the Podbean side of the house, the app or the website, and it tracks all the other streaming services, not YouTube, but everything else. And I've got over 7,600 downloads this year. Well, since we started it, so 7,600 downloads. That's okay. I don't think it's as high as I would eventually like it to get, but we're working on it. We're moving forward, and I couldn't be happier with the results. When you look at YouTube, and I kind of started YouTube, I was off and on going back and forth on that, but it did okay, and I'm doing better with YouTube now. But I got over 56,000 views on YouTube. Now that is with the full episodes and also the shorts that I've been doing, which is the As I See It little snippets. But I think that people enjoy those. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe you don't, but they see a lot of get a lot of views, and hopefully somebody out there is enjoying those. But over 56,000 views on YouTube alone, over 2,000 watch hours. So we're moving along on YouTube quite a bit more. I only have 492 followers. I haven't hit the 500 mark yet. I'm hoping to hit that in the very near future. If you're out there and you're watching this and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, then go in there, do that, like it, share it, subscribe. Get me over that 500 mark. That would be very, very helpful. Just like I mentioned at the beginning, was along the way made contact with Till Valhalla Project, and they asked me to be an ambassador for their organization. I mean, what an honor to be able to speak on their behalf and try to promote them as we're doing these podcasts. And, and I try to be very faithful and do it every single podcast. But man, what a great organization. I truly, truly, if you don't know anything about them, and just about every military person does, but if you can help them out, please do so. They have t-shirts, they got all kinds of stuff, but go in and support them. Do whatever you can do to help them. They're an amazing organization that's out there. All right, I started TikTok. Started TikTok late in the game. I was probably a couple, I don't know, 3 or 4 months now. It hasn't been long, but I started TikTok. I have 7,116 followers on TikTok, which is pretty crazy. I don't know all the views and all that type of stuff, mainly because I don't know how to figure that piece of the pie out. But it is what it is. I'm on some other platforms that aren't doing as well as those, but they're moving along too, steadily growing. And I'm just excited and thrilled to be able to get to this point. We came from doing My Veteran Stories, which is that one-on-one interview with a veteran and having them tell their story from the beginning to the end. And I started doing these fireside chats, and at first it was just the fireside chats with the crew. We get on, we talk about whatever, and then it kind of developed and morphed into a more streamlined actual show, if you will. That's the fireside chat with the crew, and that's becoming a pretty easy and steady moving podcast, and it's a lot of fun for me. I get to hang out with friends, and it's incredible. We also started the fireside chat with special guests, so that's where I have a veteran owned business or a veteran organization that comes on the podcast and talks about what they have to offer and what they're doing in the veteran community, and highlight if somebody is absolutely like crushing it whenever it comes to their business and stuff like that, to show that veterans can go out there and veterans can do amazing things. And then just recently, and this is within the last month, I guess, we started Fireside Chat Men of Faith. And this is something that I've needed for a long time. I don't really go to church very often. I know I should, but I don't. And it's a time to have fellowship with other men that are kind of in the same boat, and we just talk about biblical principles. How does that apply to us? What can we do in the future as we're moving forward, and things like that. And it's been a fantastic show, and I really enjoyed doing that show. But it's been a blessing for me. It's been great, fantastic for me personally. I think I've grown just in the short amount of time that we've been doing it. And it's just that reminder, that constant reminder about God, and He's there for you, and all those types of things. I need to do better at trusting God, just like this podcast. I need to be able to trust Him, just let Him take it wherever He wants to take it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm kind of impatient from time to time, and but that's okay. I'm working toward it, though. I'm working toward it. But anyways, yeah, I am so blessed to be able to have this podcast. Traveling the country, just meeting tons and tons of people. I'm having such a blast doing this. And if you're out there and you've been on this show, I want to say 100% to you. You rock. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your stories and talking about your businesses, talking about your organizations, because this podcast is about the veteran community. And I know most people, whenever I'm talking to them about it, they're like, The Lost Art with Andrew Cox, what's that all about? And I have to explain it each time. And there's probably a better way to kind of put it on there. But, that I consider veteran stories one of those lost arts, right? A lost art meaning something that gets passed down from generation to generation, but it doesn't get passed down, like changing a car tire, for example. That's a lost art. Fly fishing is a lost art. Those are the two big ones that I always use because they're easy, but it can be anything. And veteran stories is a lost art. And that's where this whole thing started, thanks to my wife for putting that idea in my head and helping me talk through that and figure out kind of what it was we wanted to do with the podcast here. But I'm just so excited and blessed to be able to be here. What was it? 306 episodes is how many it will be on the 9th. So, and we're having a huge blowout episode on the 9th. So I'm going to have some guests that have been on before. They're going to come on. They're going to talk about their experiences. They're going to, we're all just going to have fun and talk back and forth and enjoy each other's company. And it should be a good celebration. So I encourage you. That'll be on Monday, the 9th. So please tune in for that one. It's going to be a big one, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But with that, I always close out every episode and I always talk about veteran suicide and, the Till Valhalla Project and 22 Mohawks. And there's so many veteran organizations I've already met that hone in on veteran suicide, and veteran suicide is a huge thing for me. And I close us out every single time talking about that and trying to encourage not just the individual that may be struggling, but those that are not struggling to go out and help somebody. So with that, to all the listeners, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can also text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know the whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, then reach out to the buddies that you served with. Ask them if they need a helping hand. And if they do, please give them that helping hand. All right. With that, to everybody out there, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in to all these episodes that we've done, 306 for the year. To all the people that have come on, all the veterans that have come on and been a part of this podcast from day one, I want to say thank you. You guys rock. You supported me and you just encouraged me along the way. So I appreciate that 100%. All right. As always, to all the listeners, stay motivated. Change your socks.